As you continue along your awakening journey, you may begin to notice both religious and spiritual people alike referencing the number 144,000. You may even notice that you happen to look at the clock at 144, that you're seeing this number on license plates or in a myriad of other situations. It's almost as though this number is talking to you. It has a message for you, but what is that message? And who or what are the 144,000? In this video, I'm going to talk about all of this, and I'm going to explain the relevance of this number throughout time and history, as well as the core meaning or essence of the number 144 and 144,000. Our journey here begins with the book of Revelations in the Bible. In the book of Revelations, it speaks of 144,000 followers of Christ who are sealed or protected from the wrath of the Lord in the end of days. Many consider or understand this to be referencing born-again Christians who return and repent to the Lord, asking for salvation and bringing other sinners to the Lord in order to facilitate their salvation as well. This number generally refers to 12,000 people from each of the 12 tribes of Israel, equaling in total 144,000 people. As time has moved on, this number has been interpreted in a bunch of different ways. Some Christians now interpret the number 144,000 to be more of a symbolic number, not referencing a specific amount of people, but simply referencing all of the followers of Jesus and all good Christians. In the spiritual community, we have also found a resonance with this number and sought to explain it in a number of ways. One of the ways that this number is explained is simply to say that the 144,000 refers to all of those who choose the path of ascension and embody Christ consciousness. And once again, that it is not necessarily a specific number of people, but more of a symbolic number or energy. As we've continued along this trajectory, those who are familiar with Dolores Cannon and the 3 waves of volunteers have likened the number 144,000 and the 144,000 as a reference to the chosen volunteers, which are the 3 waves of starseeds who volunteered to come to Earth when they heard the call that was put out to the universe or the multiverse, asking for assistance. Dolores Cannon, in her books, and she's a very fascinating person to learn about and learn from, so I highly recommend all of her books to anybody who is a spiritual seeker. But she references in her hypnosis sessions that many clients who felt that they were part of this wave of starseeds and who heard this call began hearing it around the time that people on this planet began to experiment with nuclear energy and began to move toward the brink, I guess you could say, of nuclear war. As every planet and every system, especially the Earth being a primarily free will dominated planet before the overtaking of this reality by the archons, which is a whole nother video in and of itself. And I'll link a video at the end of this video if you want to learn more about that, who the archons are, and more about the false matrix and the inverted reality that we are currently in the process of transcending or ascending out of. But reference to say this was designed as a free will planet, but when the free will of one nation or planet or collective of souls threatens the free will of other collectives within the multiverse, there has to be some type of managing of that energy. And so in order to prevent nuclear war, these waves of starseeds began incarnating. And if you're interested in learning more about the waves of starseeds who are incarnating upon this planet, let me know in the comments below and I'll be happy to do a video on that specific energy. But these starseeds came here with the mission of awakening humanity through their energy, through their resonance, and through their process of remembrance of self. And all of these star seeds hold encoded within them certain codes that are meant to activate and unlock at certain times in order to continue to enhance and move along this process of ascension. One of these waves of star seeds, their only mission, so to speak, or the only thing they need to or are meant to do is to simply be present on this earth, and their vibration and frequency alone has enough of an impact to begin to shift the collective. We're going to talk about this energy and this idea in more detail as we continue to move through this video. So as we're looking at this collective of the 144,000, there are some who consider this a literal number of people, 144,000 souls. And there are others who understand, like myself, that there are far more than 144,000 awakening starseeds on this planet, and starseeds who are incarnated with this mission. In fact, there's a whole new wave of starseeds that are currently incarnating upon this planet right now, who are coming to bring their even more high vibrational energy to this planet. And the reason that they're able to do this is because of the starseeds that came before them and this process of awakening that has already taken place and lifted the vibration to a point where their energy was able to enter this stratosphere or this matrix, so to speak. And those beautiful rainbow or ultraviolet children, as I like to call them, that fourth wave of starseeds, I would be happy to do a video on that as well if people are interested in that. So these beautiful star seeds bring their energy, they bring their frequency, they bring their vibration, they help to awaken the collective, which is not always the happy, carefree process that I am making it out to be right now, but it is a very powerful process, and it is a very coveted mission, so to speak. And this is where we get some of the energy that sort of muddies or sullies the message and the energy of the 144,000. And this is the energy of elitism that sometimes enters into our consciousness when we begin to identify with this label of 144,000. Whether we're talking about in a religious context or a spiritual context, those who identify with this label often consider themselves or refer to themselves, as the scripture does in the Bible, as the chosen ones. And when we have this energy, it creates a sort of spiritual ego. And when I reference spiritual ego, what I'm talking about is the insidious ego that develops and kind of flies under the radar once we begin to awaken spiritually. And we get to that point when we feel as though we know everything and begin to look down on those who are less evolved or less awakened and aware and separate ourselves from them. This separation is what the false matrix feeds off of, and all those who are attempting to thwart this ascension process. The energy of separation, the illusion of separation, is the greatest illusion of this reality that causes the most pain, which is the idea that we are separate from God, when in fact we are all beautiful fractals of God's source creator consciousness, here having different experiences. We talk about on this channel a lot the idea of I am you and you are me. We are both fractals of the we, having these multifaceted experience in a multidimensional space and energy. And so we want to be careful not to do that. We want to be careful not to think of ourselves as an elite tribe. And whenever I say that, I always think of, for those of you who are around my age, this SVU, Special Victims Unit on Law and Order, where they say, this is an elite squad. Because we're all the same, right? We're all at different levels of awakening and consciousness, but that doesn't make us better than each other. That just makes us at different levels of this process, different stages of this process, right? We were all once an infant. We were all once a toddler, and so on and so forth. And so it's about bringing ourselves back down to an equal space where we see and view every creature, every expression of source consciousness as an equal, as another expression of us. And we love them unconditionally. This doesn't mean that we accept all of the dysfunction that sometimes comes with lower frames of consciousness, but we love unconditionally, right? And we don't place ourselves above or below. we place ourselves on an even keel. So when I use the term 144,000, I am referring to those volunteers and anyone who has chosen the path of ascension, because this isn't like we were chosen by God because we are special. Everybody's special, which makes nobody special, right? It's that we chose God. We chose the path of ascension. And we knew that when we came down here and incarnated into these bodies and forgot who we were, we would begin to remember, and we would choose to continue to remember, to continue to move along this process that allows all of these codes embedded within our DNA to activate, that allows for the unfurling and the continuing and these waves of ascension to take place. And this moves us toward the ultimate meaning or understanding of the number 144 and 144,000. And that is that this is a number that refers to the activation of the DNA and the light body and the process of ascension. And this is something that I felt for quite some time, but I didn't fully understand how it worked. So I want to thank the alchemist, Sarah Eckeldley, or I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name, but go ahead and look up The Alchemist on YouTube. She has a great video on this as well. And she goes over a lot of this information too. She has a very esoteric way that she explains it all. She's fabulous. And so she explained this process of the activation of the light body and how it connects to the number 144,000. And I'm going to share that information with you. This begins by understanding that we have so many subtle channels of energy throughout our bodies. Many of us are familiar with the 7 chakra system and some with the 12-13 chakra system, and so on and so forth. But there are actually 72,000 nadis, or subtle channels of energy, through which we take in energy on a daily basis. We can imagine our physical body, well, not imagine, our physical body, it is a fact, takes in food as sustenance. Our energy body takes in energy as sustenance. And as the vibrations coming into this planet increase, the vibrations of the earth herself increase, we are receiving higher and higher vibrational energy through these subtle channels. And as we are receiving this energy, it is activating our light bodies, and it is beginning this process of shifting us from carbon-based life forms to crystalline-based life forms. So this beautiful energy comes in through these 72,000 nadis, and as it gains potency, it begins to activate the primary nadis within our energy system. These are known as the Ida, the Pingala, and the Sushumna. The Sushumna is a column of energy that runs straight up the spine, connecting all of the 7 major in-body chakras. The Ida is found on the left-hand side of the spine and represents the feminine energy. And the Pingala is found on the right-hand side of the spine and represents the masculine energy. As the Ida and the Pingala are activated, they begin to swirl around each other, up the column of the spine, up the Sushumna, in a beautiful serpentine motion. And you may recognize this as the caduceus, which is the symbol for the medical profession or the medical world, even in this Western world. So this is where that energy comes from. It is this process of the awakening. Some people refer to this through the lens of a Kundalini awakening, when this energy is activated at the base of the spine and these nadis begin moving up the Sushumna. They connect or intersect at each of the 7 main chakras, opening and activating the energies there. And as they move into the higher chakras and connect and meet at the higher chakras, they activate our higher perceptions. This is the process of enlightenment from an energetic point of view. And as these 72,000 nadis activate the Ida and the Pingala, and therefore the Sushumna, they multiply or double And that number that is created is, of course, 144,000. So we see this beautiful process of activating the energy and activating the light body here, represented by that number 144,000. Another interesting couple things to know or to look at when we're looking at the number 144,000 in relation to the energy systems is the fact that each of the 7 major chakras is assigned or represented by a certain number, a lotus with a certain number of petals. We have 4 petals within the root chakra. We have 6 within the sacral. We have 10 petals within the solar plexus, 12 within the heart chakra, and 16 within the throat chakra. When we add all of these petals together, we get 48 petals in the lower or bottom 5 chakras. The third eye is represented by 2 lotus petals, but this is a symbolic number indicating that the power and energy generated by the third eye chakra is double that of the lower or the bottom 5. So when we double the number 48, we get the number 96. And when you add together 96 and 48, which would be adding together the third eye chakra and the lower 5 chakras, you get 144 petals. The crown chakra is represented by 1,000 lotus petals. And when you multiply 1,000 by 144, you get, of course, 144,000 petals found within our chakra system. And so we can see this indication that when we have fully activated all of our 7 chakras, we have fully activated that number or that frequency of 144,000 within our energy system. Something else really fascinating here has to do with the strands of our DNA and their relation to the number 144,000. If we look at our strands of DNA, we have 12 strands of DNA that we are evolving back into. 12, 13 strands. I look at the 13th as the culmination of all 12, right? The entirety of the genome. But working with that number 12, 12 times 12 is 144. So this number just keeps repeating. 144 hertz is the frequency of enlightenment. And this can be utilized through binaural beats, tuning forks if they have them. I'm thinking any of these things Spirit was showing me will assist in the ascension process, the activation of the light body, and also calming any ascension symptoms that we may be experiencing as this process is underway, because it is a lot. As our light body activates and raises in vibration, it requires more and more energy. And as we are taking in more and more energy, it's a process, right? It's a powerful process, and it can take a toll on the physical body, especially if we are not supporting our body in all the ways that it is calling for, which can be very challenging when it comes to diet, when it comes to hydration, when it comes to rest. But whenever we're noticing or seeing the number 144, this is an indication that we are awakening and that our light body is activating. So we need to pay attention to this and perhaps step up the self-care. So that is the overriding reason why you may be seeing the number 144, whether, like I said earlier, it's 144 on the clock, on a license plate, wherever it is that this number and however it is that this number is popping up. Maybe this video just popped up in your feed. That would be another sign, another synchronicity letting you know that your light body is activating, that you are choosing the path of ascension. So congratulations for making that choice. It is sometimes a rocky road. That's why I created this channel. Go ahead and subscribe right now. Join the tribe. If you want to receive more videos like this in the future, get more information. We also do tarot and astrology, a whole lot of stuff. We have a whole lot of fun here. If you resonate with this number and with the material in this video, then absolutely go ahead and understand yourself through that lens, but also understand that these are all labels. And when we place any label upon ourselves, we limit ourselves. As we said, or as I said, I use that number sometimes because when I put that number in a video, it connects with a certain amount of people that resonate with that frequency and who need to hear the information that I am sharing. And for a long time, I didn't put out a lot of this information because I didn't feel like I knew enough about it. And I don't ever want to put out false information, because that's what the false matrix and those who engineered this false matrix have been doing for a very long time. However, I felt that it's time to begin to start sharing the information and the knowledge that I have gathered, while also remembering that honestly, like, the human ability of comprehension is so limited. The multiverse and the amount of consciousness and information and knowledge in the multiverse is, like, honestly, it would melt our brains if we were to receive all of it, right, from this limited perspective. So we continue to expand our perspective to become more receptive to more knowledge, always understanding that there is always more to know and understand, and not falling into that trap of the false ego, like we talked about earlier. But also knowing that what we do know and understand, we are meant to share, we are meant to speak. So if there is somebody out there who has been feeling like you have something to share, that you have something to speak, consider this your permission, not that you needed it, but consider this your invitation, rather, to share that information, because there's somebody who needs to hear what you have to share, and they need to hear it from you, because they are going to resonate with you in a way that they would not resonate with somebody else. All right, I'm going to leave you all with that. It is my honor and my privilege to be here with you today, sharing what little I do know about all of these beautiful esoteric subjects and this awakening journey. We are all on this journey together. And the I within me, the spark of source light within me, honors the spark of source light within you, infinitely and always.